When I was pregnant with our first child, I really wanted to keep things simple, but with all of the advice, the registry lists, and the pressure, it was hard to know what we would actually use. Now, over 2 years later, and with baby number 2 arriving in just a few weeks, I have a much clearer idea of what worked for us and what I would skip this time around. So in today's video, I'll be sharing the minimalist baby essentials that we truly appreciated and used, as well as a few items that I just wouldn't buy again. And just a heads up, if you have things that are working for you, please don't feel the need to go out and buy new things just because it's on a list, this one included, or because it's what everyone else says works. I do think there is a lot of value in hearing what works for other people, but it's also a lot of trial and error because every mom and baby is different. Focusing on what's truly helpful, starting with less, and buying secondhand first can go a long way in keeping things simple and cost-friendly as well. I hope that in sharing this list, you will feel more grounded as you prepare, whether it inspires you to buy less or simply release yourself from the pressure to buy all of those internet must-haves. So let's start with the things that I just wouldn't buy again. But before I jump into it, I want to say if you have, use, or love any of these items, that's totally okay. Every family and baby is different. These are just the things that we did not find were essential and could have done without pretty much. So number 1 is excessive amounts of blankets and swaddles. Personally, for us, we were gifted so many blankets, handmade knit blankets, crocheted blankets, swaddles, and we just had way too many. I kept them because I did feel a little bit of guilt giving them away after we had been given them. However, we really only used 2 or 3, and they were rotated because they were obviously being washed weekly. So I just think that this is a category of item that we don't need much of and is not super essential to have large amounts of. Item number 2 that I really wouldn't buy again is any baby clothing that is inconvenient or uncomfortable for the baby, obviously. So things like button-up onesies, these are just a pain to get on and off. No matter how quickly you try to get those buttons on or snapped, it's just inconvenient in a lot of situations, especially if there is a diaper blowout. That's just not a fun situation. So things like that with lots of buttons, with frilly areas that might be itching or bugging baby's skin, especially up in the neck area, and items for girls specifically that have bows on the back of the clothing, because baby is laying down a lot of the time, and I just can't see how comfortable that would be to have a little bulging area or accessory on your backside. Number 3 is anything for the body, whether that's soap or creams that has any type of fragrance or essential oil in it. I know that essential oils are typically more preferred. However, I think I would just omit anything with a fragrance in it and just go for really gentle and clean products for the baby's skin and hair. My daughter struggled with eczema early on. She's now kind of grown out of that, or we've just figured out how to eliminate certain triggers. But fragranced creams and soaps were maybe a contributing factor early on that I really would not and will not buy again. Number 4 is a baby food maker or processor. I bought one secondhand when we started feeding her purees. However, I've used it a handful of times and I just found it more inconvenient to set the whole thing up and then clean it and reuse it for a very small amount of food. And I think it can be done on a stovetop or even in the microwave if you have a steaming option. So for us, it just was not essential and I ended up selling it anyway. The next item I would not buy again is a one-shoulder sling carrier. I have one from Wildbird and I really thought I was going to use it quite often, but I definitely didn't use it as often as my baby Bjorn carrier, which goes over both shoulders and baby is, fit tightly with both legs coming out as well as the arms. The one shoulder sling is great for newborns. It's great for keeping them close. However, I definitely found it a bit impractical when I was trying to do things because one of my shoulders was always restricted in motion, so it's not something that I would buy or use again. Next is duplicate baby toys. So things like rattles, multiple stuffed animals, teethers especially, they really don't need more than one. And this is something that also is gifted quite a bit because it's fun, it's exciting, it's cute, but they're just clutter at the end of the day if your baby is only using one or two of them. So for us, this is not something that we are going to be buying again this time around. We're gonna reuse what we had for my daughter. I have since really pared down how many baby toys we have, and it feels much more reasonable. Another item that I would not buy again is the baby monitor with a tracking sock. And the reason why is just because it induces a lot of anxiety. I know that it can be really great peace of mind for some people, but a lot of the time I was so fixated on her heart rate and oxygen level while she was sleeping and being told whether she was awake or not, and just stressing out about her sleep because I had so much information being given to me by that little tracking sock. So this is not something that I would buy again, and I don't actually think it's something we're gonna be using this time around at all. Next is newborn socks, shoes, or slippers. We are really just gonna try to keep our baby in footed onesies, so that prevents the need for socks, unless we are going out for a walk and maybe baby needs another layer of clothing, then we'll put on something else over top. But I don't think newborn slippers and shoes are necessary. We definitely had a few for my daughter when she was a baby, but it's pointless. They don't even know how to walk. They're not even crawling at that point. And I have read also that restricting the foot with any type of footwear in those first stages of life is not ideal. So we will not be buying any of those this time around. And lastly is a large diaper bag. I was so excited to get the matching diaper bag set. I got one from, I believe it was Zara, and it had a little zipper pouch bag, which I do still use, and a changing mat, which I will be using again. But it was just this massive tote bag diaper bag, which had a resistant, like a water resistant lining, which was great, but it was just way too big. And I think I filled it with stuff that I didn't always need to have with me simply because I had the space for it. And now, honestly, I just use little backpacks. I'll use like my tote bag or just a regular bag or tote that we have on hand. I don't think it's super necessary for me to go out and buy a specific diaper bag this time around. Before I get into the baby essentials, I want to thank Ritual for sponsoring part of today's video and share two things that I have added to my routine in this third trimester of my pregnancy. The first is their essential prenatal. And I didn't start using this until later in my pregnancy, but I really wish I had known about it sooner because it's literally just 2 capsules a day that are super gentle on my stomach. And what's great is that they have this lemony scent, which makes them even easier to take, especially on those off days where nausea is around. One thing I really appreciate about Ritual is how transparent they are about their ingredients. Everything is made traceable, meaning that you know exactly what you're taking and why, and that gives me a lot of peace of mind, especially during pregnancy when we have to be taking these prenatal vitamins. I've also been using their essential protein for pregnancy and postpartum, and it has been such a game changer for reaching my daily protein intake. And what's great is that it is plant-based. It has 20 grams of protein per scoop, as well as added choline for baby's brain development. So, I mean, I don't think I've ever seen a protein powder made like this one specifically for pregnancy and postpartum. And it really makes me excited about getting that protein in my diet. I mix it in a whole variety of smoothies, and it has this really nice mild vanilla flavor with a bit of spice. It's super creamy, very smooth, and it doesn't leave any bad aftertaste in your mouth, which is something that has been an issue for me with other protein powders. Both products come as a monthly subscription, so they arrive directly to my door automatically, and it's just one less thing to keep track of right now, which is really nice. So if you're looking for a great prenatal, a protein powder, or just a high quality daily multivitamin, I definitely recommend checking out Ritual, and I will leave my link below for you because Ritual is offering 25% off your first order with my code HaleyVillena25. Now, these are the items that became true essentials for us, things that we used over and over again and will also use for our next baby. Every family's needs are different, but these are the ones that really earned their place in our home. Number one is muslin burp cloths, or just burp cloths in general. The ones that I have are like this gauzy material, and they are super, super absorbent and easy to clean, quick drying, great for a whole variety of uses, for cleaning up spills, for using on top of a nursing pillow when breastfeeding, also for putting over visitors' shoulders when they are holding baby for the first time, if you don't want them to be touching their clothing. We just found these so useful, and we still use them to this day, especially when my daughter is teething or she's got a runny nose and things like that. Number two is a nail file. I was so nervous to use a nail clipper on my daughter's nails when she was so tiny. So having that little rotating nail file with the different grains of filing discs is very, very handy and works really well. Number three is a pacifier and clip. And I guess I included pacifier here because that's what we had used for my daughter, but the essential part here is the clip, because those things go flying and it is very irritating having to clean them all the time. So having a little clip to put on the clothing, on the stroller, on the car seat is super handy, and we found it very useful. Another item that is essential for us is a sleep sack. We had our daughter in this from her first month of life all the way up until she was about 2 years old, and they come in a variety of weights, a variety of materials. I think they're much easier to use and more useful than swaddle blankets, especially in those first few months where baby can kind of escape out of the blanket. It also gives peace of mind that nothing is going to end up in baby's face when they are sleeping, so we will be using them again. Next is a sound machine. So we do have a stationary one as well as a portable one. Not that you need both, but I think for us personally, having one to use on the go for, you know, going out for walks or in the car, or when we go to my parents' house and she needs to nap, that was really helpful, and it's easy to recharge with a cord. And then having one stationary just meant that we always had a sound machine in her room when she was ready to go to sleep. So these are essential. We still use them to this day, and we will be using them for our next baby. Next is a flexible stroller fan. That's what I'm going to be calling it. You've probably seen it, but it truly is awesome. You can adjust the head. The legs are flexible, so you can wrap it around a stroller, a car seat, pretty much anything. You can stand it up on different angles, and it is super, super handy for when the weather is just really warm, or if you just simply want airflow within the baby's carrier in the car and there's maybe a blanket covering the car seat. It has so many uses, and we really appreciate this. I'm going to be bringing it to the hospital to use myself when I'm in labor, so it's definitely one of those items that can continue to be used even past the baby stage. The next essential is a nursing cover or a car seat cover. For me, I've got one with a string that wraps around my neck. It's just this like really thin muslin cotton material, and I use it for a variety of things: breastfeeding out in public, covering the car seat, covering the stroller, a whole bunch of things. It can also just be a really nice lightweight blanket for baby in, you know, those moments where you maybe don't have one on hand. So this was an essential for me, and I'm gonna reuse the one from my daughter. Another essential for me was a baby carrier. Now I know that not every baby likes to be in these. My daughter didn't mind it for quite a few months, and I found it really helpful when I wanted to be close to her, or if she, you know, wouldn't go down to sleep and I needed to, make myself lunch, for example. It was nice to just have the option. And it's great if it is one that can go from newborn all the way up to 12 months, for example. Then you don't need to have various carriers. For me, we've got one specifically for the newborn, and then I had purchased one secondhand for when she was a little bit heavier, and it has like one of those hood covers in case we go outside. So this is an essential, and I am definitely going to try using it again. Hopefully this baby doesn't mind being in it. Another essential here is high contrast cards for that first few months of life when they are just really developing their vision. I think that these kept my daughter occupied or entertained for quite a long time, and they just kept her visually stimulated as well. I do think it helped in her development, and they're super easy. You can literally print these things out and laminate them yourself. I'm sure they're even sold secondhand on places like Facebook Marketplace, but super essential for us because it just gives baby something to look at, especially when they can't really see that far. Next up is a baby monitor. I definitely found this useful. Even though we are in a condo, it was nice to be able to check on the baby in a room or leave the room and have that peace of mind knowing I could just quickly see if they were okay. Not everybody uses these, and that's okay, but I think it is especially helpful if you're not always in the same room as baby, or even if you are, visiting another place that isn't your home and baby has to go down for a nap. Having something that is portable or can be accessed on your phone is very handy. At least we found it very essential. And lastly, a fragrance and chemical-free laundry detergent. So I was just using regular detergent for a little while, and then I just really found that it was irritating my daughter's skin. So I switched over to a powder, which is completely clean, fragrance-free, and we are using it to this day. I still have the same bag because it is so concentrated. I'm using the brand Molly Suds, and we've really been enjoying it. It cleans well, doesn't leave any type of residue, and gives great peace of mind knowing that it is safe to be on the clothing that my daughter is wearing. These next few items were not must-haves, so to say, but they were definitely really nice bonuses to have because they either added comfort or extra convenience in certain phases. And I wouldn't consider them essentials, like things that we couldn't live or function without, but they were very nice to have on hand. Number one is a baby bouncer. We got this instead of a swing just because we're in an apartment. We didn't want any bulky baby equipment to be, cluttering or filling our space. You know me, I hate visual clutter. So having this little baby Bjorn bouncer was very handy. My daughter often fell asleep in it. What's great is that it folds flat, so it's easy to take with you on the go anywhere. You can take the slip cover, like the seat, off and machine wash it. Very quick to do as well. And what's great is that once they're in the stage where they're moving themselves and kind of active, I guess, it actually bounces them for you. So it's not something that you're always having to sit beside and manually bounce. Next up is a baby lounger. So we have the one from Snuggle Me, and this was a really nice thing for us to have when we were, sitting on the couch and didn't necessarily want to be holding baby. You get overstimulated sometimes, and that's okay. It was a safe spot for us to put her down in. She would often have little naps there with our supervision, obviously, and it was a nice item to have. It's also really easy to clean. Next is a wearable breast pump. This was a luxury that I got only at the very end of my breastfeeding journey because a friend had given me one, and it was something that I found just so nice to have. After having tried using a manual hand pump as well as the one from Medela with all of the cords, it was an older version, mind you, and it didn't end up working. So having a wearable pump was just a godsend, honestly, and I'm super excited to use it more frequently and earlier on in this upcoming postpartum season. And lastly is a Grow With Me high chair. We do have the Stoke high chair. I ended up finding it secondhand, so that was really nice to just cut down on the cost a bit. But we've gone from my daughter using it from the very earliest stages of sitting up and learning how to eat, all the way until now, where it's pretty much just a regular chair that's at her level of the table, and I can see us using it again for this upcoming baby, and then her just transitioning to a regular like table chair. It doesn't have to be expensive, but the Grow With Me options are super handy and convenient and prevent you from having to buy multiple high chairs throughout the different stages of development. I hope this gave you some clarity as you prepare for your own baby, or even just permission to keep things simple. I've definitely found that having less can truly be more, especially in those early months where all our babies really need is us and our love. If you have found any baby items that you found to be essential and really useful, or things that you would skip another time around, I would love to hear about them in the comments. I think it's great that we can learn so much from each other in this community, and I really appreciate when you share your thoughts too. Thank you so much for joining me today, and if you are in your own season of preparing for a baby, I am sending you so much love, and I'll see you in the next one.